My brothers and my sisters, there comes a moment in your life when you gotta stand up, square your shoulders, and declare, a fear will not have the final say. You see, rejection is not the end. Rejection is not a wall. It's a redirection. It's not a punishment. It's a platform. Too many of us are shackled by what someone didn't say, by who didn't choose us, by who walked away, and we've allowed their silence to silence our voice. But I came to tell you, your worth is not measured by their acceptance. We pray for open doors, but we crumble when one shuts in our face. What's your problem? When one shuts in our face. Let me help you today. Rejection is a revelation. It's proof that what God has for you will not be found begging at the feet of someone who couldn't see your value. Stop waiting for the applause of people who don't even understand your purpose. You've been fearfully and wonderfully made not to be tolerated, but to thrive, to rise, and to overcome. So here's the shift. Instead of fearing rejection, start fearing regret. Regret of the dreams you never chased, the books you never wrote, the relationships you never pursued. Why? Because you were too afraid to hear no. But let me tell you, every no brings you one step closer to the right yes. And when that yes shows up, it'll make sense why the others did it. Rejection didn't break you. It revealed the parts of you that still needed healing. So today we rise. We speak life. We break the fear. We embrace the future. And we walk boldly into the destiny that cannot be denied. Not by people, not by pain, not by past. Sometimes in life, we face moments that hurt more than we expected. One of those moments is when we are rejected. It can come from a person, a job, an opportunity, or even a dream we've held close to our hearts. Rejection feels personal. It feels like something is wrong with us. It feels like we are not good enough. But what if rejection is not what we think it is? What if it's not a punishment, but a pathway? What if rejection is simply a new direction? When someone says no to you, it's easy to think you failed. You start asking yourself questions. Was I not smart enough? Was I not talented enough? Was I not attractive, skilled, or experienced enough? These questions can eat away at your confidence. Away at your confidence. They can make you stop trying. They can even make you stop dreaming. But just because someone turned you down or something didn't work out doesn't mean your value is gone. It doesn't mean your story is over. In fact, it might be just the beginning of a better one. Rejection often comes with pain, and pain makes us pause. That pause can feel like punishment. But sometimes it's in that pause where you find your true direction. You see, when you were walking down one path and it didn't work out, it's because that path was not meant to carry you where you need to go. Rejection is a signpost. It's a message. It's God, the universe, or life itself saying, there's something else for you. Keep going, but not this way. There are times when we pray for things, hope for things, fight for things, and they still don't happen. That relationship doesn't last. That door doesn't open. That position is given to someone else. And you're left wondering, why not me? But sometimes the answer is because you're being protected, because what's ahead is greater than what you lost, because what you wanted was smaller than what you're about to receive. You may not see it right away. It may take months or even years to understand why it didn't work out. But when you look back, you'll realize that if you had gotten what you wanted then, you might have missed something much better later. You might have settled. You might have been stuck. You might have been tied to something that would have pulled you down instead of lifting you up. Rejection can be a blessing in disguise, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Think about how many successful people were rejected first. Authors whose books were turned down by publisher after publisher. Actors who were told they didn't have what it takes. Entrepreneurs whose ideas were laughed at. Musicians who couldn't get a record deal. All of them had moments where they could have given up. They were told no. Not once, not twice, but many times. But what they understood was that rejection didn't mean stop. It meant change direction. And because they did, they found success in places they never imagined. The same can be true for you. That person who walked away. Maybe they made room for someone who will truly love you. That job you didn't get. Maybe it opened your eyes to a new career or a dream you forgot you had. That door that closed. Maybe it was so you could build your own door. One that leads exactly where you're meant to be. You're not being blocked, you're being guided. Rejection teaches you things you may not learn any other way. It teaches you resilience, how to keep going even when it hurts. It teaches you self-worth, that your value doesn't decrease because of someone's opinion. It teaches you trust, how to believe in a greater plan even when you can't see it. It teaches you clarity, helping you realize what you really want and what you truly deserve. Some of the most important growth in life comes through rejection. That's because rejection makes you pause and reflect. It makes you rethink. It makes you dig deep and ask questions you might not have asked if everything had gone smoothly. And in that searching, in that silence, in that moment when you feel like giving up, that's where your strength is built. That's where your character is shaped. That's where your future starts to shift. It's easy to love life when things are going well, but it's in the hard moments, in the times when you feel unseen, unheard, and unwanted. That's where you learn how strong you really are. That's where you discover who you are. And that's when you learn that rejection isn't the end of the road. It's just a bend in the road. So if you've been rejected recently, don't give up. Don't let it define you. Don't let it stop you. Let it move you. Let it shape you. Let it take you somewhere better. You may have been rejected by people, but you have not been rejected by your purpose. Your journey is not over because someone said no. That one no may lead to the yes that changes your life forever. Keep going. Keep trying. Keep believing. What feels like rejection now may be the very thing that leads you to peace, purpose, and power later. You may not understand it now, but you will. One day, you will look back and thank that closed door. You will look back and realize that the place you ended up was exactly where you were supposed to be. So walk on. Stand tall. Don't be afraid of rejection. Don't be afraid to try again. You are not being turned away. You are being turned around towards something greater. To something greater. There are times in life when we try so hard to be accepted by others. We try to fit in. We try to please people. We try to make sure they like us, respect us, and value us. We change how we talk, how we dress, how we act, just to win their approval. And when we don't get it, we begin to feel like something is wrong with us. But the truth is, nothing is wrong with you. Your worth does not depend on someone else seeing it. You are valuable with or without their approval. So many people live their whole lives trying to be liked. They fear being left out. They fear being laughed at. They fear being judged. So they hide who they really are. They quiet their voices. They shrink their dreams. They carry a heavy load on their hearts, just trying to keep others happy. But that's no way to live. You were not created to live in fear of someone else's opinion. Everyone will not understand you. Everyone will not support you. Everyone will not like you. And that is okay. That doesn't make you any less worthy. It doesn't make you any less special. That doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means they are not your people. It just means they were not meant to walk with you in this part of your journey. You see, some people will only love the version of you that benefits them. They'll love you as long as you agree with them. And you got it. They'll support you as long as you don't challenge them. But the moment you grow, the moment you change, the moment you shine a little too bright, they pull away. And if you base your worth on how they treat you, you will always feel like you are not enough. Oh. But let me remind you of something powerful. You are enough. Not because someone says you are, but because you were born with worth. You were created with purpose. You were designed with value. And no one can take that away from you. You don't need a title to be important. You don't need to be popular to matter. You don't need applause to have value. You can be quiet and still be powerful. You can be gentle and still be strong. You can walk alone and still be walking in the right direction. People may overlook you, but that doesn't mean you are invisible to the things that truly matter. There are people who will never see your worth because they are too focused on what they think worth should look like. They expect it to come in a certain package. They expect it to speak in a certain way, behave a certain way, or follow a certain path. And when you don't match their idea, they look past you. But don't let their limited view shrink your greatness. Don't let their blindness become your burden. Become your burden. You may not be for everyone, but you are for someone. You may not fit into their world, but you are perfect for your purpose. The people who are meant to see you will. The people who are meant to walk with you will. You don't have to chase them. You don't have to beg them. You don't have to become someone else just to keep them close. The right people will respect you for who you are, not who you pretend to be. It's a hard truth, but not everyone is meant to go with you. Some were only part of your story for a season. And when that season ends, it's not your job to hold on to what is leaving. It's your job to grow, to move forward, and to stay true to yourself. When you spend your life trying to earn love or approval, you forget that you already have love within you. Ooh. You forget that your worth is not something you work for. It's something you already have. You don't need to be chosen to be valuable. You don't need to be accepted to have meaning. You don't need to be celebrated to know you are enough. The world will always have opinions. People will always have something to say. One moment they may praise you, and the next they may turn away. That's why you can't let your sense of worth come from outside voices. It must come from within. It must come from a place deep inside that says, even if they don't see me, I still see myself. Even if they don't love me, I still choose to love myself. You have to decide that you are worthy, not because of your achievements, not because of your image, not because of your past, and not because of who accepts you, but simply because you are here, and that is enough. You were not born to seek approval. You were born to shine, to grow, to love, and to live a life that's real and free. Freedom comes when you stop trying to prove yourself. Freedom comes when you stop trying to fit into places that don't recognize your light. Freedom comes when you can stand in your truth even if you stand alone. Because the truth is, you are more than enough. You are loved. You are whole. You are strong. You are valuable, with or without their yes. Oh, take a deep breath. Let go of the need to be approved by everyone. Let go of the fear of not being liked. Let go of the weight of other people's opinions. And walk tall in your own lane. Speak with your own voice. Live with your own voice. Live with your own heart. Because your worth is not given to you by others. It's already yours. And once you believe that, once you hold on to that truth deep in your soul, nothing and no one can make you feel small again. Not rejection, not silence, not distance, not judgment. You will know who you are, and that knowledge is power. Live from that place. Move from that place. Live from that place. Choose from that place. And you'll never need their approval to feel valuable again. Rejection is one of the most painful feelings a person can experience. It cuts deep. Whether it comes from a person you cared about, a job you really wanted, an opportunity you prayed for, or a dream you believed in, rejection has a way of making you feel small, unwanted, and not good enough. But as hard as it is, rejection is not just something that happens to hurt us. It can also teach us. It can show us something we didn't know before. It can open our eyes to things we may not have seen on our own. Sometimes rejection is a message. Sometimes it's a moment of truth. Sometimes it reveals something we truly need to understand. When someone says no to you, you feel the sting right away. Your heart sinks. Your mind races. You start wondering, what did I do wrong? Or why wasn't I chosen? Those thoughts are normal, but they are not always true. Just because you were rejected does not mean you are not worthy. It does not mean you are not enough. It does not mean you don't have value. Sometimes the reason you were rejected has nothing to do with your worth and everything to do with direction, timing, or protection. When we experience rejection, we often want to run from it or forget it as fast as possible. But if you take a moment to pause and reflect, rejection can reveal things you needed to see. It might reveal that the door you were knocking on was never meant for you. It might show you that the person you were chasing did not love you in the way you deserve to be loved. It might show you that the job you wanted would not have brought you peace. Sometimes rejection reveals that we were dreaming too small. Sometimes it reveals that we were chasing things that were not part of our true purpose. Life has a way of using rejection to guide us. What feels like a wall in your way might actually be a sign pointing you towards something better. You may even question your faith or your path, but later, when you look back, you begin to see clearly. You see why it didn't happen. You see what was hidden. You see what needed to be healed. You see what you were protected from. There are people who walked away from you, not because you weren't enough, but because they were not meant to stay. You may have begged for the relationship to work, not realizing that letting go was actually saving your heart. You may have wanted that door to open so badly, not knowing that walking through it would have led you into more stress, confusion, or harm. Rejection can reveal the truth about people. It can reveal the truth about situations. And sometimes it reveals the truth about yourself. Sometimes we chase things out of insecurity. Sometimes we want people to accept us because we don't fully accept ourselves. Sometimes we go after things that we were never supposed to have. All because we are trying to prove something to others. Something to others. When you are rejected, it may hurt, but it also gives you a chance to check your heart. It gives you space to ask, why did I want that so badly? And what do I really need right now? Rejection can help us be more honest with ourselves. It's in those quiet, painful moments after rejection when we learn how strong we really are. We learn how to get back up. We learn how to encourage ourselves. We learn how to walk without needing everyone to walk with us. That's not failure. That's growth. That's growth. Rejection may break your heart, but it can also build your character. It can build your patience, your wisdom, and your strength. It can open your eyes to things you were blind to before. It can pull you closer to your true self. Sometimes we pray for answers, and the answer comes in the form of rejection. We ask for guidance, and the guidance comes by something not working out. It doesn't feel good in the moment, but later you will realize that unanswered prayer was actually an answered prayer, that a no was a gift. That ending was a beginning in disguise. You may think you lost something when you were rejected, but what if you gained something more important? What if you gained clarity? What if you gained direction? What if you gained peace? Sometimes we want the wrong things. Sometimes we try to fit into places that cannot hold us. Rejection pulls us out of those places and sets us on a new path. A path we didn't expect. A path we didn't plan for. But a path that leads us to where we truly belong. You don't need to be afraid of rejection anymore. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're less than. It means something was revealed. Maybe it was something about others. Maybe it was something about your purpose. Maybe it was something about your heart. Either way, you are wiser now, stronger now, braver now. You've seen the truth, and now you can move forward in truth. So, the next time you are rejected, don't just see the loss. Look for the lesson. Look for the light. Look for the truth that is being revealed. You're not being pushed away forever. You're being set apart for something better, something right, something real. Keep your heart open. Keep your head lifted. Keep believing in who you are and what you carry. Rejection is not the end of your story. It's just the start of a better chapter. A chapter where you are walking in truth and purpose and in power. What was taken from you will be replaced with something greater. What didn't work out will make space for what will. And what you've learned will carry you into a future that fits who you truly are. Fear can be a quiet voice inside your head, whispering reasons why you shouldn't try. One of the strongest fears many people face is the fear of rejection. It can hide in small moments. It shows up when you hesitate to speak up in a room full of people. It appears when you don't apply for the job you dream of because you think you won't get it. It creeps in when you love someone but hold back your feelings because you're scared they won't feel the same. Fear of rejection can become so powerful that it stops you before you even begin. This kind of fear is not always loud. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it's just a gentle pull, holding you back from reaching forward. And over time, that small fear can grow into something much bigger. It can begin to affect every part of your life. Your choices, your relationships, your goals, and even your view of yourself. When fear of rejection takes over, it doesn't just block your chances of getting hurt. It also blocks your chance to grow, to succeed, and to live fully. There is so much inside you, so many gifts, talents, ideas, and dreams, but fear will keep those things locked away if you let it. You may have something beautiful to give the world, but if you're too afraid of how people will respond, you might never share it. You might never write that book, sing that song, start that business, apply to that school, or open your heart. The fear of hearing a no becomes stronger than the hope of hearing a yes. But what if you tried and they said yes? What if you took a chance and the door opened? What if you dared to believe in yourself and something beautiful came from it? You will never know unless you take the step. Fear makes you believe that rejection is the worst thing that could happen. But in truth, staying stuck, never trying, is much worse. Because when you don't try, you reject yourself before anyone else ever gets the chance. So many people live with quiet dreams, dreams they never spoke out loud. Dreams they carried in their hearts for years but never acted on. Not because they didn't believe the dream was real, but because they didn't believe they were good enough to make it happen. They were afraid of being laughed at, misunderstood, or told they weren't worthy. And so they stayed quiet. They stayed in places that felt safe, but those same places kept them small. Fear of rejection does not just protect you from pain. it also keeps you from progress. It convinces you to settle. It tells you to stop before you even begin. It says, what if they don't like you? Or what if they say no? But what if they do like you? What if they say yes? What if your idea changes lives, starting with your own? The only way to find out is to try. The truth is, everyone faces rejection at some point. No one is free from it. Even the most successful people, the ones we admire, the ones who seem to have it all, were told a no many times before they ever heard a yes. They were turned down. They were doubted. But they kept going. They didn't let the fear stop them. They faced the rejection, and they kept walking forward. That's the difference between those who grow and those who stay stuck. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's courage. It's the decision to try again, even after being rejected. You might feel like you're not ready. You might feel like you're not enough. And if you wait until the fear goes away, you'll be waiting forever. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's moving forward even while you're afraid. Saying, yes, I might be rejected, but I'm going to try anyway, because I believe there's something in me that's worth showing the world. Oh, you have potential, not just a little, but a lot. There are things only you can do. There are people only you can reach. There are gifts inside you that the world is waiting to see. But if fear keeps you quiet, if fear keeps you still, then that potential never gets the chance to grow. And over time, it starts to feel like something inside you is missing, not because it isn't there, but because you've never let it live. You can't let fear drive your life. You can't give it the power to decide what you do or don't do. You have to take that power back. You have to remember that rejection does not define you. If someone says no, it does not mean you are worthless. If a door closes, it does not mean another won't open. Rejection may hurt, but it cannot destroy your purpose. It cannot take away your worth, and it definitely cannot erase your future. Sometimes rejection is simply a redirection. Sometimes it's life's way of pointing you somewhere better. But you won't see that better place if you never take the first step. You won't find your strength if you always play it safe. You won't discover what you're truly capable of if you keep letting fear lead. So take the risk, speak the truth, share your dream, knock on the door, try again. You may be rejected, yes, but you may also be accepted. You may be welcomed, you may be chosen. And none of that here gift makes room for you. But none of that happens until you try. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to be willing. Willing to try. Willing to try. Willing to grow. Willing to believe that you are more than what fear says you are. Don't let fear stop your potential from shining. Don't let rejection stop your voice from speaking. So don't let one and no make you forget that 1,000 yeses can still be ahead. You are more than your fears. You are more than your rejections. You are full of potential, and it's time to start living like it. Hearing the word no can feel heavy. It can feel like a closed door, a final answer, a full stop. Whether it's a job you really wanted, a relationship you hoped would work, a business idea you believed in, or even just a small request to someone important to you, when the answer is a no, it can feel personal. It can feel like rejection. It can feel like failure. But the truth is, a no is not the end. It may feel like the end in the moment, but often it's just a pause, a redirection, a signal to keep going in another way. Sometimes we think if we don't get the answer we want right away, then the story is over. We take the no and carry it like a weight. We let it stop us. We give up on the dream. We close our hearts. We turn back. But what if that no was just part of the journey?
What if it was never meant to end the story, but to teach you something, to build you up, or to prepare you for something even better? It's easy to take a no and think, maybe I'm not good enough, but that's not always true. A no doesn't mean you're not worthy.
It doesn't mean you didn't try hard enough. It doesn't mean you don't belong. Sometimes a no means the timing isn't right. Sometimes it means the place isn't right. Sometimes it means the people involved are not the right ones for you. Sometimes it means there's more growing to do before the answer becomes a yes. Life is not a straight line. It is full of twists and turns. The road you thought would be smooth might lead you through a few storms, but that doesn't mean the journey ends there. It just means you're being shaped, stretched, and made stronger for what's ahead. And a no is often part of that shaping process. It teaches us to be patient, teaches us to trust. It teaches us that we don't always see the whole picture at once, but that doesn't mean the picture isn't still being painted. Some of the most successful people in the world were told to no again and again. They were rejected. They were turned away. They were laughed at or ignored. They were laughed at or ignored. But they didn't let the no stop them. They kept going. They believed in what they had, even when others didn't. And eventually, they found the open door, the right connection, the yes that changed everything. Not because it was easy, but because they didn't quit. It's not about never hearing a no. It's about what you do after you hear it. Do you sit down and give up? Or do you stand up and keep walking? Do you let it crush your confidence? Or do you let it fuel your fire to try again? The people who reach their dreams are not always the ones with the most talent. Omens with the most talent. Often they are simply the ones who didn't stop when life said a no. Every a no holds a lesson. It might show you a better way. It might push you to improve. It might open your eyes to things you didn't see before. It might close a wrong door so that the right one becomes clearer. But none of that can happen if you see a no as the final word. You have to keep moving. You have to keep believing. You have to keep planting seeds, even when nothing seems to be growing yet. There are moments in life when you will feel disappointed. You will feel discouraged. You will wonder if it's even worth trying anymore. But in those moments, remember, the story is not over. A no is not a period, it's a comma. It's not the end, it's part of the middle. And just because something didn't work out now, doesn't mean it never will. Sometimes the thing you wanted so badly wasn't meant for you. Not because you don't deserve good things, but because there's something even better waiting. You just couldn't see it yet. You were focused on one door, but life had another door, and it was only through the no that you could find it. Oh, that's how life works sometimes. It removes what you thought you wanted so you can receive what you truly need. Think about the moments in your past when you were told a no, and it hurt. But then, sometime later, you realized it was for the best. Maybe you got a better job. Maybe you met better people. Maybe you learned something about yourself that changed your life. The same can happen again. You just have to give life a chance to unfold. You are not defined by the no's you hear. You are defined by how you respond to them. How you respond to them. If you keep your heart open, if you keep showing up, if you keep giving your best, you will find that a no loses its power. It can't stop someone who refuses to stop moving. It can't destroy someone who chooses to hope. Anyway, it can't break someone who knows that their worth does not depend on other people's decisions. So if you're facing a no right now, don't lose heart. Take a breath. Cry if you need to. Rest if you must. But don't quit. Don't shut down. Don't stop dreaming. Don't stop trying. Life still has more to show you. The road ahead still holds more chances, more beauty, more open doors. You just haven't reached them yet. Keep going. Keep believing. Your yes east might be just around the corner. And when it comes, it will remind you why all those no's didn't break you. They built you. They made you wiser. They made you stronger. They brought you here to a place where you can receive what is truly meant for you. A no is not the end. Sometimes it's the very thing that leads you to your new beginning. Life is full of moments when we feel unsure. There are times when the future looks uncertain, when the road ahead is unclear, and when fear starts to grow in our minds. Fear is a powerful feeling. It can show up suddenly. And when it does, it can take over your thoughts, your emotions, and your decisions. It makes you worry about what might go wrong. It makes you think of all the things that could happen, all the pain, all the rejection, all the failure. Fear is loud, but there is something even more powerful than fear, and that is faith. Faith is quiet but strong. Faith is the belief that even if you don't see how things will work out, you trust that they will. It's the strength to keep going when nothing around you gives you a reason to. Faith is knowing deep in your heart that you are not alone, that there is a purpose to your life, and that every step, even the hard ones, are leading you somewhere good. Fear tries to tell you to stay where it's safe. It says, don't risk it. Don't risk it. Don't speak up. Don't move forward. Fear wants you to shrink, to hide, to doubt yourself. But faith says, step out, try again, trust the process. Faith invites you to move even when you're shaking. It tells you that even though you're scared, you can still act, you can still hope, you can still believe. Still believe. Sometimes we wait for fear to go away before we make a move. We think of when I feel more confident, I'll do it. But the truth is, confidence often comes after we act, not before. If you wait until fear disappears, you might wait forever. Faith doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you don't let fear control you. It means you choose to trust even while you're trembling. Hey, people who had big dreams but never lived them out because fear got in the way. They feared failing. They feared being judged. They feared not being good enough. So they stayed where it felt safe, even if it made them unhappy. But living in fear is not truly living. It's just surviving. Faith leads to more. It leads to peace. It leads to purpose. It leads to the kind of life that is full and free, even if it's not always easy. Faith doesn't give you all the answers, but it gives you strength. It gives you courage to try. It gives you peace in the middle of the storm. It helps you breathe when life feels heavy. It reminds you that the story isn't over yet, even if things are hard right now. It tells you that even though you can't see the ending, there is still hope. There is still more ahead. When you choose faith over fear, you stop letting fear make your decisions. You start moving in the direction of growth, of truth, of your calling. That doesn't mean things will always go the way you want, but it means you won't be held back anymore. You'll learn, you'll grow, you'll discover strength you didn't know you had. You'll look back one day and see how far you've come, not because you had it all figured out, but because you had faith. You may not know what tomorrow holds. You may not be able to control every outcome, but you can control how you respond. You can choose to trust instead of panic. You can choose to hope instead of fear the worst. You can choose to keep walking even if the road is foggy. Faith is that choice. And there may be times when you fall, times when you feel weak, times when your faith feels small, but even a little faith is powerful. Even the smallest belief that things can get better, that you are not alone, that life has meaning, can carry you through the darkest seasons. You don't need perfect faith. You just need enough to take the next step. Think about the things you've already come through. Times you were scared but still made it through. Times you thought you couldn't go on, but somehow you did. That wasn't fear that carried you. That was faith. It may not have felt like it at the time, but deep down, something in you believed it was worth holding on. Something in you knew that you were made for more than giving up. That is faith at work. There are places you are meant to go, people you are meant to reach, things you are meant to do. Fear will try to keep you from them. It will try to fill your head with doubt. But faith will push you forward. Faith will remind you that you are here for a reason, that your voice matters, that your dreams matter, that your life matters. So today, if fear is speaking loudly, listen instead for the gentle voice of faith. It may not shout, but it is there, in your heart, in your soul, in the way you keep going even when you're tired, in the way you still hope even after the heartbreak, in the way you still believe there's something more. That is faith. That is strength. That is power. You don't have to be fearless to live fully. You just have to believe that fear doesn't get to decide your story. You do. And with faith, you can write a beautiful one filled with courage. Filled with courage. One filled with purpose. One filled with moments where you stood tall even when you were scared. Because faith lifts you. It carries you. It leads you into the life you were meant to live. No matter what fear says, choose to trust. Choose to believe. Choose faith over fear again and again. And watch how your life begins to change.